Hi, everyone. Now we're talking about um, transgenders being able to participate in women's sports when they are born biologically as male. And so we know that men are naturally stronger than women. So I've already expressed my views about, you know, transgenders participating in women's sports when they are born biological male. Now, I don't have anything against anyone. And I believe that God loves us all, but he hates the sin. Now, people can believe what they want because this is not homophobic. This is not hating on any particular group because we know that the LGBTQ is a protected class. We know that. So we're not saying anything negative against them. People live their life the way they want to live their life. That's up to them because they have to answer to who they need to answer to at the end. But we as heterosexual females and males have a right for for us to speak out. And we should be a protected group as well for heterosexual females. Because when you go back to the Bible, and if you believe in the Bible and the biblical teachings and concepts of the Bible, God created man and woman. He created Adam and then he created Eve. And God was not confused about who he created. And I stand on that. I'm not going to take that back. You don't have to agree with me. This is not homophobic because I even knew people that lived an alternative lifestyle and they were fine people with me. But and I made it clear that I didn't agree with their lifestyle, but however, we worked together and we got along together and it was never a problem. So all I'm saying is that we cannot be punished because of our views and what we believe because we have just as right to express ourselves just like they do. And because I am an athlete and I participated in sports growing up and continue to participate in sports when I became an adult, and in my military service you had to participate and make sure you pass that annual physical every year. So it wasn't just a matter of getting out there when it was time for it. I actually worked out regularly, went to the gym when I got out of the service, worked out. I love participating in sports. I'm very competitive. I love playing basketball. I'd take any one of y'all subscribers that's male subscribers to the hoop any day if you want to go to the hoop. Okay, because I like basketball, you know. But anyway, I'm not a fast runner as I used to be. But however, I won't back down when it comes to competition out there on the track or on the court, when it comes to shooting some hoops. But anyway, what I'm going to say, and I used to swim. I don't feel I'm a great swimmer, but I used to play volleyball and I would slam a ball on you in a minute, boy, out there on them family picnics and church picnics. Yeah, buddy. But anyway, I want to talk about these three articles. I won't be long, hopefully, before you. But Caitlyn Jenner faces backlash for calling transgender athlete Leah Thomas not the rightful winner in the swimming championship. Now, I agree with that. She wasn't the he, she. It's a male. So Leah Thomas goes by Leah and wants to be identified as a female. However, Leah Thomas is still a male and was born male, okay? And so Caitlyn Jenner, is a former Olympic gold medal winner and is speaking out against transgender swimmer Leah Thomas winning the women's NCAA swimming championship. The former California gubernatorial nominee said the 22-year-old swimmer was not the rightful winner, naming second place winner, Emma weigh-in as the true victor of the final race. And I agree with that. Now, the people started coming at Caitlyn because they're saying, how can he talk or how can she talk? But the thing is, he actually, if you go back, Caitlyn actually regrets having the change. He regrets changing his identity. He regrets all of that. He regrets all of that. So I'm just going to say it like that, regret that. So if you go back and read that, he regrets, or he regrets what happened. So Thomas made headlines being the first transgender woman, which is actually a man, to win the NCAA's championship. She was viewed as an inspiration of many, but also garnered a lot of vitriol from others claiming she shouldn't have been or he shouldn't have been allowed in the women's swimming competition to begin with. Now politically correct, you know, this person Leah Thomas wants to be identified as a woman. But the thing is Leah Thomas is still a man, whether they're taking hormones or not, and they have to keep their hormones at a certain level. And this is just education, you all. Comment, critiquing, education, and this is what it is. So when people say she, they're only just adding, to me, fuel to the fire. And then not only that, uh, in reality, you can't change what's biological. God created what he created. And he wasn't confused about who he created and why he created and for the reasons that he created man and woman. So Jenner, who's a fellow trans community member and a former athlete, is one of these people. The Keeping Up with the Kardashian star retweeted a story about Florida Governor Ron DeSantis denouncing Thomas. Okay, agreed, weigh-in is the rightful winner. Jenner responded, adding, "It's not transphobic or anti-trans, it's common sense." You know what I'm saying? And it is common sense. Come on, we all should be using our common sense that we were born with. And it's common sense that if a person was born a female, they're still female. Even if they want to identify as male, and if they were born male and want to identify as female, they are still male. And I have no issues with what you want to identify as, but biologically, it cannot change and it will not change because even a transgender person that wants to be female that was born male cannot have children. And there was a big controversy on another YouTuber's channel. You guys might have even saw that video and even participated on the panel with this person, this transgender, saying that they are a real woman. No, you're not a real woman because you cannot have cycles. You will never be able to have menstruation cycles. You'll never be able to have children. So at the end of the day, you can't get pregnant. So, biologically. So I think that we do need to use common sense and we can't go on the standards of the world. And that's what a lot of people are doing, is going along with the standards of the world, the status quo and all of that, and go along, get along. But you can't go back and change biology. You cannot go back and change that. And so shows of support for the governor who had actually fought against gay and trans rights has drawn the attention of many that disagree with the former Olympic gold medalist, claiming what she said is in fact transphobic. No, it's not. And everything is not transphobic. Everything is not anti-trans. And everything is not, hating. It's just not. And we have a right to our opinion as well. And just because we don't agree with that, we agree with what their lifestyle, it doesn't mean that we hate people. God loves everybody. I love everybody. But I'm not going to love your sin. And that's just simple as that. I'm not going to love your sin. But God loves everybody. So the comments on Jenner's tweet range from support to criticism, with one follower asking, well, why do you always ignore all the times a trans athlete doesn't win? It creates a baffling paradox when you say they give cis women no chance despite them not winning more often than them doing so. Another comment read, common sense is not something you or the governor, Ron DeSantis, has a lot of. Well, they do have common sense. And if you go back and study biology, we learned in biology when we were children, going to school, science and all that. And then what was the other class we had to take? I can't think of it right now. But we learned that the difference between a male and a female. That is common sense. We can't give up common sense just because we want to go with the standards of the world. We cannot try to make wrong right. And that's the thing that people are trying to do, is make wrong right. But if you look up the definition, wrong is wrong and right is right. And again, you live your life the way you want to live it. But I stand with the cisgenders. I stand with the women that were born biological women. I stand with that. And I don't agree with transgender men that are claiming to be female and wanting to identify as female to be participating in cisgender female sports, because we know that that's an unfair, the scale is unequal, it's unbalanced, and that's not fair. And so I'm going to stand with them. So in an official proclamation, DeSantis announced weigh-in as the NCAA championship winner, saying a male identifying as a woman was allowed to compete in and was declared the winner of the race by the National Collegiate Athletic Association, and Emma was determined to have come in second place. He continued to claim action served to erode opportunities for women athletes and perpetuate a fraud against women athletes as well as the public at large. And I agree. And the thing is, from what I understood, and this is allegedly, because I didn't do a lot of research on Leah Thomas before this, but I read an article where it says that he wasn't winning nothing. And so he crossed over. And you know that there's benefits when people cross over. We've seen a lot of the benefits. We've seen the protected race. We see how they can get notoriety. And if you saw the news, how quick some of these news stations jumped on it, and they was all up in this person's face, smiling. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. These are people that have degrees, that are reporting the news, and they up here trying to appease somebody, up here smiling, and just, you know what? I don't want to, let me just keep going. So last year, Florida signed a bill into law called the Fairness in Women's Sports Act. And there should be Fairness in Women's Sports Act. The anti-trans legislation became effective on the first day of Pride Month, banning trans female athletes from competing in public high school and college sports. The former athlete has faced criticism several times in the past for being against several trans issues, despite coming out as a trans woman herself in 2015. But Caitlyn Jenner said in the past that she regrets that. So Caitlyn Jenner says transgender girls in schools should not compete on girls' sports teams. I think they should have their own group where they compete against each other. They should give that a try. They really should. I bet you will be great. Just like they have the Special Olympics, that would be ideal for the transgenders to create, for them to create their own sport, for them to compete against each other. And I think that would be a great idea. So her rocky history concerning the trans community had a spotlight shined on it when Jenner decided to run for governor of California against Governor Gavin Newsom during the 2021 recall election. The reality TV star was only able to accumulate 1% of the vote, commenting, "I can't believe that this many people actually voted to keep him in office," during her concession speech. Okay, now trans athletes have been a topic of contention between party lines, with a few athletes choosing to compete in their preferred gender-separated sports. The likes of Jenner, as well as popular podcaster Joe Rogan and many others, have been against the ideal of non-cis female athletes competing with biological females. There have been a number of trans athletes who have failed to secure the goal, but it's been the few cases where they have that it has become an issue with those involved in the industry. Now, let's talk about okay, so let's talk about the other two articles. Let me get to those. Give me a moment. Now, the swimmer who tied Leah Thomas in the 200-yard freestyle says officials cheated her on podium. We just want Leah to hold the fifth place trophy. This was Blaze, okay? So the thing is with this, with the Blaze, she says she felt cheated. And I agree with that. And like I said, they were all up there smiling in her face and stuff. And I think that's wrong. And it says Riley Gaines, who tied transgender swimmer Leah Thomas for fifth place in the women's 200-yard freestyle finals at the NCAA over the weekend, told the Daily Wire that officials treated her on the podium after their event. And I agree with that, because if this is a women's sport, then they should have gave the fifth place trophy to actually Riley Gaines. They shouldn't have gave it to Leah Thomas. They should have gave it to Riley Gaines, because it is a women's sport, and Riley Gaines is a cisgender woman, born biologically as a woman. So they should have gave her the actual trophy. And so anyway, they gave it to Leah Thompson. So Gaines said her trophy is going to be coming in the mail. How much is that a slap in the face? And so the University of Kentucky senior told the outlet in an interview that after the race, he ventured behind the podium where NCAA officials were distributing trophies. Gaines told the Daily Wire that a man in an NCAA shirt told her, "Hey, I just want to let you know we only have one fifth place trophy, so yours will be coming in the mail. We went ahead and gave the fifth place trophy to Leah, but you can pose on the podium with the sixth place trophy." But if she got fifth place and they tied, why would she pose with a sixth place trophy? Because you know what, if she's doing that, and it says that, common sense just isn't common anymore. So yes, Thomas would have this moment too. So Gaines told the outlet she briefly argued with the official. "Okay, that's fine. She worked hard, just like I worked hard. There's no question there. But can I ask why she gets the fifth place trophy before I do? Especially last night, she just won the national title." The official told Gaines they gave the awards in chronological order. which might mean the order of the swimming lanes, which could be true. Or what about the times? Okay, was the times the same? They say they tied. Okay, so the outlet added that the NCAA has not addressed this point to the Daily Wire. What I'm gonna say, they should have gave it to Gaines because guess what? She is a cisgender woman. Now I said we just want Leah to hold the fifth place trophy. Yeah, I just want you to know that we respect you and admire your swim so much, but we just want Leah to hold the fifth place trophy. Gaines recalled the official telling her. The outlet said, "Know why? Because they're putting a battery in these people's back, and they trying to look for notoriety. And remember, they are a protected class. But like I said, we as heterosexual male and female should become a protected class also, because we are not. They're trying to take our rights away. They're trying to take our freedom of speech away, and they're trying to take our benefits away, because marriage is supposed to be between a man and a woman. And you know now anybody can get married, and you know that they are a protected class with all type of benefits. And you say anything negative, then you're anti-trans, you're homophobic, transphobic. But that's not the case at all. And I could care less about how you want to live your life, because at the end of the day, I can't change you. Only God can if you're willing to be changed. So I can't worry about your business because I got my own, but I will comment and I will put my opinion out here, and I have a right to my opinion of my First Amendment right. And this is not hate speech. This is all done in love, but it's also done under the copyright. This is for critiquing, comment, research, news reporting, whatever you want to say. So Gaines noted to the Daily Wire that she then told the official, "I don't think that's right, and I don't think that's fair. There's no dispute that only one of us can hold the trophy, but I think given the circumstance, you're just trying to save face a little bit." Go ahead, Gaines, and I stand with you, Gaines, on that. Say what you got to say and don't back down, because that's what they expect us to do as cisgender women, to back down. And we're not backing down. And so with that, Gaines stood on the podium next to a biological man who identifies as a woman and who took center stage from yet another biological female athlete. All to be ashamed. All to be ashamed. It was a bit disheartening, Gaines told the outlet. It really was. I left the pool with no trophy. Not a big deal, but it was the goal that I had set all year. She asked the Daily Wire, who are we trying to protect here and who are we trying to fight for here? You know who they trying to protect, themselves and the special group. Gaines speculated to the outlet that the NCAA went into the championships overly sensitive about Thomas and perhaps fearful of potential wrath from those who were looking for any slights against the transgender swimmer. Right, so they can go eventually, because if they hadn't gave it to Leah Thomas, you know what would have happened? They would have had all type of lawsuits, lawsuits and all those things. You know that's what would have came down after that. And it would have been a lot of, so it's almost like they're trying to back transgender athletes more than 90 to 95% of the rest of the swimmers who are kind of bummed by and affected by the rules that were in place for Leah to swim, she added to the Daily Wire. The NCAA did not immediately reply to the Blaze request for comment regarding Gaines' assertions. And it said, Gaines says, it just broke my heart. She also spoke to the outlet about Virginia Tech University swimmer Rika Giorgi, who criticized the NCAA, saying Thomas has taken away her spot in the 500-yard freestyle finals. Gaines told the Daily Wire that she stood next to Giorgi during the final heat of the 500 on Thursday. When Leah touched the wall and Rika realized that she got 17, the first thing she said to me was, "Wow, I can't believe I just got beat by someone who probably wasn't even trying their hardest." It just broke my heart, Gaines recalled to the outlet. She had tears in her eyes. The Daily Wire said Gaines repeatedly emphasized that she doesn't believe Thomas is the problem. "I am in full support of her and full support of her transition and her swimming career and everything like that, because there is no doubt that she works hard too. But she's just abiding by the rules that the NCAA put in place, and that's the issue." However, she added to the outlet that Thomas also used the women's locker room at the NCAA's, which Gaines said was awkward. No man should be in a woman's locker room. Even if you identify as a woman, you should have a separate area, or you should use the men's locker room, but you should not be in there with women knowing that you have a uh, biological organ, okay, that is male, and then you in the room with biological females. So the first day I got there, I was in the locker room changing, and then she came in, and it just kind of got silent, Gaines told the Daily Wire, adding that everyone in the locker room, I think, was kind of stunned, but that no one really looked or anything like that. That's a violation of a woman's rights. Just like if the woman went in the men's locker room, you shouldn't be in there. But if this is a violation, And I'm not going to sit down on it. If I was, you know, it, this better not happen in no fitting room, because I'm going to say something. I'm not going to be quiet on it. It's just like that video, if you all seen, where this man was in there and the woman came out and spoke. It was like a spa. I think it was at a spa, and it was some time ago. But however, this is just so wrong, and it's a violation. So it's like we don't have rights as heterosexual cisgender females anymore. Like we don't have rights, and we're going to have to fight for our rights, heterosexual cisgender females. So Gaines added, okay, so the outlet said the NCAA has not responded to requests for comment on this point. Gaines added to the Daily Wire that the NCAA managed to turn their backs on all of the biological females, not even just in swimming, but in all NCAA sports, just to kind of appease a small minority. And you know what? I 100% agree with that. I do agree with that. I do agree with that. And then if we can go to one more article, and then we'll be done with this video. But the other article is from the Swimming World magazine.com, and they wrote a letter. The University of Arizona swimmers write a letter to the NCAA on Leah Thomas following last week's NCAA Women's Championships, when Penn swimmer Leah Thomas captured the NCAA title in the 500 freestyle and swam in 2 other championship finals. Members of the swimming community continue to issue public statements on the controversial presence of Thomas, a transgender female, at the women's meet. The latest comments come from a group of University of Arizona swimmers that include longtime head coach and USA Swimming National Team Director Frank Bush and 2008 Olympian Lacey Niemeyer, plus others from the Wildcats 2008 National Championship group. The letter sent this week to the NCAA Board of Governors expressed significant questions of the fairness of Thomas participating. The letter says that the collegiate governing body has successfully failed everyone by allowing Thomas to compete against cisgender women while trying to appease everyone. The letter states that Thomas catapulted a team to a top 20 program in the country after failing to score a single point last year. Although it's worth noting that the Ivy League and Penn canceled all athletics last year and thus had no swimmers in the running to qualify for NCAA. See, this is wrong here, and we see what's going on. We really do see that this is about money, notoriety, and fame. This isn't about that. This person probably, they might have just, like I said, did it for notoriety and fame. The letter goes on to contrast Thomas' situation with that of Isaac Hennick, a transgender male who remains eligible for women's competition and swam alongside Thomas in the 100 freestyle final last week. The letter concludes with an offer to help the NCAA in discussing potential steps it can implement to create new solutions for the expanding athletic family. So they're trying to come with, implement a solution, okay? And they started off, it's dated March 24th, 2022. Dear NCAA Board of Governors, do we have a voice? That's the question. Do we have a voice? It's hard to express the anguish the women's swim community has experienced this past week watching the 2022 NCAA Swim and Dive Championship. On one hand, we feel we are witnessing irrevocable damage to a sport that has transformed our own identities for the better. On the other, we have reconnected with each other in sisterhood after many busy years living our lives beyond the water's edge. We are grateful for the many women who have stood up to publicly speak up in protest of your policies, including UT Swim alumni who penned a thoughtful letter to their athletic director and inspired us to write from the University of Arizona alumni perspective. We have collected some of our own thoughts on paper to plead to swimming leadership at every level to take immediate action to protect our women athletes. In 2008, USA swimming chief Chuck Wilgus was asked to comment on a culture of fair play regarding a female swimmer who had tested positive for a banned anabolic agent called clenbuterol. He claimed at the time, within the culture of swimming, if you're doing something you shouldn't be doing, we want to catch you and throw you out of the sport. In other sports, it's about excuses and justifications and being innocent until you're proven guilty. According to the USADA website, clenbuterol is prohibited in sport because it promotes muscle growth through anabolic properties. The Mayo Clinic reports the main anabolic steroid hormone produced by the body is testosterone, and that it has anabolic effects promoting muscle building. In a little over a decade, USA Swimming The leading organization of swimming in the world has surrendered its firm stance on fair play. This has encouraged other organizations such as the NCAA to make accommodations for biological men who have had the benefits of testosterone throughout natural development and beyond. According to Duke's Center for Sports Law and Policy, there is an average 10 to 12% performance gap between elite males and elite females in sport. What advantage does testosterone have for natural born men in swimming specifically? This year in the 500 freestyle, the men's A standard qualifying time is 4:11.62. The women's A standard qualifying time was 4:35.76. That is a difference of 24.14 seconds. To put that into perspective, the male swimmer in the last seed going into the meet would be 2 full laps ahead of his female counterpart in this event. This one example alone demonstrates the advantages a biological male swimmer has over a female. Physiologically, advantages exist. Looking back on another moment in swim history, in 2010, FINA banned the use of high-tech performance swimsuits as the shiny suit era saw records falling at an alarming rate due to a competitive advantage given to swimmers who had the suits available to them. This year, at the fastest short course swim meet in the world, the body inside the suit is what raises cause for concern. Take a breath. The decisions of the NCAA this year hope to appease everyone by allowing Leah Thomas to compete directly with women. Instead, the NCAA has successfully failed everyone. A target was placed on the back of a trans athlete, subjecting this person to devastating national outcry and humiliation. This swimmer's long points for penning this march catapulted a team to a top 20 program in the country after failing to score a single point last year. Additionally, women athletes competing in the meet were forced to swim in unfair direct competition, therefore eliminating all integrity of the entire championship meet. We are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Title, let's see, I think that's Title IX. This year, oh, excuse me, let me see. Title IX. Now, I'm not sure. I don't recall what that number is, so forgive me, but you all probably know. This year, from the birth of the NCAA in 1906 until 1972, women had to fight to earn the law that provided equal opportunities for women in sports. It took a male to female transgender person 1 year to take the women's swimming national championship title. This is not equality. Women's standings, titles, records, and scholarships are suddenly at risk again, opening the door to allow natural-born men to acquire precious, life-altering financial aid packages often split up between multiple women per team defeats the very essence of the flagship legislation we are ironically celebrating this very year. Female to male transgender athletes do not have the same opportunities as their male to female counterparts. They are heavily disadvantaged when it comes to earning a spot on the team they identify due to strength and speed differences between gender categories. This was represented this year in the 100 freestyle by Yale's Isaac Hennick, a transgender male competing at the women's championship. This swimmer placed fifth in the event. Hennick's time of 47.52 earned the swimmer an All-American award and added 13.5 points to Yale's team score. Had Hennick chosen to swim at the men's competition, however, the same time would have failed to even reach the men's A qualifying time of 41.71 by almost 6 seconds, dashing the whisper of a chance the swimmer would even step up to the block. There were many options the NCAA could have implemented to create a fair environment for women competitors. A trans athlete could compete in the meet that aligns with birth gender, such as Hennick did. At the championship level, there are 10 lanes available in the pool, while only 8 swimmers compete per heat. Therefore, a trans athlete could have been added to any finals heat in addition to the 16 women who qualified without pushing any other deserving women out of the finals, such as BT's Rika Georgi, who personally spoke out about the inequality she was subjected to being shut out of the finals. Trans-specific heats with separate award categories and scoring was another alternative. I agree with that. Like I said, they should have their own, category or own, sport or category. I said sport, but if category would be, I truly believe that they could create, and I agree with that, have a separate category for these transgender. that really is the fairness and the bottom line to that. And so, I hope that we can get to that place, because there needs to be a different category for transgenders. So the NCAA could have implemented the more stringent USA swimming guidelines at the very least. Moving forward, trans swim meets could be organized and built into a new category of athletic competition similar to the Paralympic or Special Olympic platforms to continue to widen the umbrella of inclusions in athletics. We are writing this letter to the NCAA, who has a president at the helm responsible for cutting both the University of Washington swimming programs in 2009. Mr. Emmert stood firmly by his decisions as the right ones for us. The NCAA Board of Governors is predominantly men. Of the 65 athletic directors in the Power Five, only 5 are women. At the University of Arizona, our athletics director, associate AD for diversity, and senior women's advocate have remained silent on this issue unfolding over the course of this entire season. These revelations and disparities alarm us when it seems there are no urgency in skillfully and educationally addressing how the scientific and biologic differences may impact women's competitions. Do we have a voice? The people responsible for protecting women's swimming to swiftly rectify the guidelines. The women from the University of Arizona will not quietly stand down while our victories and accomplishments float away. And I agree with you all. And if you need me to write a letter, University of Arizona, I'll be happy to write one on your behalf. And we are eager and willing to discuss directly with the NCAA potential steps it can implement to create new solutions for the expanding athletic family. Please contact us with your next steps towards a fairer future. Respectfully, the women of Arizona, swimming and diving. Info at womensfins.com. And it goes on to who all that's listed in this letter. And it's a lot of names here, and you know what? I stand with them, and it's a lot of names here. I tell you, a lot of names. And the thing is that um, like I said, they need to have a separate category because none of this is cute and none of this is good, and it's just like putting batteries in people back, and they just go along to get along to appease people. And I truly agree with that. So there is something that needs to be done about this. But let us go on and get into the disclaimer. So copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Now, don't forget to please like the video and share the video. This is important to share this video because sharing the video will get this out here because I am in support of cisgender sports, and I hope that you are. And if you disagree with me, that's fine too. But I hope that you will share this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber, and don't forget, if I haven't said it, and I probably said it, but like the video, give it a thumbs up so it can get in the algorithms. Thank you for tuning in. I truly, truly appreciate each and every one of you. God bless you all on today.